The quartering has gotten dumber. I have not checked in on this guy in a while, but he is still posting like a storm, getting lots of viral videos out there that are pulling hundreds of thousands of views a day. And he's uploading, I believe it's 4 times a day now. That is a wild upload schedule. Not even I can keep up with that. And you better believe, not only have his opinions and takes gotten dumber and more insane, but on top of that, he's gotten even far from the truth when it comes to his reporting on certain stories. You see, we're gonna watch a video from him from 5 hours ago that came out today about a video that's gone viral on Twitter, shared primarily by far-right accounts. But we're gonna watch this video, we're gonna watch his reporting of the story, and using your common sense, I want you to tell me what seems wrong with the quartering's framing of it. I'm curious if you guys are able to pick up on some obvious problems with the right wing's framing of it. The story is called, or by the video, by the quartering, is called Hero Girl Arrested for Protecting Her Sister from a Migrant with Bad Intent? Oh boy, folks, that sounds pretty bad, right? Why would the police arrest a young 11-year-old girl, or 12, 11-year-old girl, I think the thumbnail said 11, for trying to protect her sister from a grown man? That sounds really odd, doesn't it? Man, the wherever this happened must be becoming a police state pretty fast for something like that to go down. Let's go ahead and see what this whole situation is about. Who could be more trustworthy to get our news from than the quartering?
To a neighborhood near you, your kids will not even be able to defend themselves from being culturally enriched by foreign invaders. This is already...
So for those that don't know, the quartering and many far-right accounts on the internet have been pushing the idea for a while now that, like, scary ethnic men are coming from overseas to rape your children. They've been pushing this idea since the Muslim rape gangs conspiracy theory that they kind of dropped after it got disproven. But in Sweden, they argued there were these gangs of Muslim men raping white women, which they used... They made this argument up based on the fact that Sweden, when it comes to any sex crime, counts every instance of the crime being done, even if it's the same perpetrator and victim. Every instance that the crime is committed is counted as a separate charge and tracked by census data as a separate charge, as it should be, which means Sweden, unique to many other countries, including America, has a very high sexual assault and rape statistic because they actually care about accurately tracking the statistic of how common it is, which of course immediately gets utilized by anti-feminist pro-rape people, funnily enough, and try to claim, oh, see, this is immigrants coming to rape white children. But, you know, that's just a little backstory. This particular misreporting is even more blazing than that. So, your children may not be allowed to defend themselves against immigrants that want to culturally assimilate them, or whatever he said. It was euphemism for sexual assault. What does he mean by defend themselves, though? Like, what means would a 11 or 12-year-old have to defend themselves or their family against a violent migrant? You might be starting to wonder, okay, so child defending against a migrant went to jail. You might be starting to think maybe the right wing's framing of this story isn't accurate. Something sounds a little fishy. Like, particularly, how exactly did this child attempt to protect their sibling? That's just food for thought. Let's continue to hear the story.
The status quo in many European nations, except Poland. Now, Poland
Oh, damn, we're talking about Poland. How about that? For those that don't know, Poland apparently going full Nazi. I guess the quartering's really happy about that.
For some reason, I don't know, maybe it's because they closed their borders and they said they weren't going to take in endless invaders. I don't know. I am not smart enough to connect these dots, but
it's so wild how this guy went from being like culture warrior to full-on Nazi. Like, all immigrants are invaders. In like a few years, he went from the left calls everyone they disagree with Nazis to, so yeah, these invaders thinking they can enter our country. Like, any form of entering another country is an invasion. Like, okay, really? We're just fully dropping the mask now? Good lord.
I think you are. This story will enrage you and hopefully inspire you, because this
Inspire
is
you?
coming
Inspire people to what, the Quartering? What are you hoping the story inspires people to do? Is he Fed posting? No shot.
everywhere. It's not just a thing that is happening in the UK and Americans can say like, ha 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 ha, UK got conquered. Let's see what happens when Mamdani wins his election in New York. Look at how Somalians have taken over Minnesota.
You know how it is. You go over to Minnesota, just Somalians everywhere, bro. Like, tell me about it, guy. Every time I'm in Minnesota, I'm expecting to see a bunch of white people fishing for walleye. Instead, it's Somalians everywhere. It's wall to wall with Somalians in Minnesota.
How there are entire Arabic Muslim cities in Michigan, in Dearborn, Michigan, where the signs aren't even in English, they're in Arabic, or in Texas. This has been happening in the United States, and we have a similar reaction to it. I know this is an unfortunate story.
Okay, he's bullshitting him. Like, I need to emphasize how much he's bullshitting in this lead up right now. I'm just gonna skip ahead to when he goes to the video in question. Let's watch the viral video conservatives have been passing around as supposedly a video of a child defending her sibling against a violent immigrant. And how and why she ended up getting arrested, the child. Let's find out what this video is that conservatives are framing in this bizarre way that just doesn't make sense. Let's watch and see what actually happened.
An unfortunate story, but I hope you'll leave a like on it in solidarity for this young girl who should be freed immediately. Now, the video that's kind of...
This is absolutely horrific! Exclamation point, exclamation point. Quote unquote, don't fucking touch us. Little girls scream at a migrant recording them before brandishing an axe and knife to warn him off. What is happening to our country? Of course, they're defending these kids. That seems like a weird way to frame a story where a child in a park is wielding an axe and a steak knife and swinging it around at people. My question is, why are these kids carrying around axes and steak knives? Once you know they were already carrying these weapons around, they're just the casual 11-year-old self-defense hatchet, in the park, in a public park in the middle of a city. Once you know that context, you start to realize, okay, there might be a good reason why the guy recording the whole situation was not in fact the creepy bad guy that the right-wing media is trying to make him out to be just because he's brown, and it is in fact the teenage weapon wielders in public swinging and threatening people with their weapons on video that are in fact the bad guys. This is... Jeremy sounds kind of drunk in this video. The Quartering is hammered in every video. Like, I need to watch any video from the Quartering. He's drunk as a skunk. Anyway, let's watch this clip.
Kind of going around the internet is essentially what you have, from what I've gathered, is a 14-year-old and a 12-year-old who are defending themselves from a 32-year-old immigrant.
Why is the immigrant recording if he's the bad guy committing a crime against children, for one? And why were those children walking around a public park across the street from what looked like a school, mind you, with hatchets and steak knives? Mind you, if this is the UK, they were already committing a crime by leaving the house with a knife. That's like giga illegal in the UK. So there's that. And blades. Any blade or knife is illegal in the UK, I think. Like, to carry outside of your home, outside of certain circumstances. Like if a cop decides, oh, you're on a boat fishing in the middle of a lake, you're not out there shanking people, you're fine. But yeah. They had an axe in the UK. Apparently this is the UK. It's somewhere in Europe, but let's watch.
Who is following them and allegedly soliciting them for, exactly what these people do.
So I shit you not, what he just brought up is an AI-generated recreation of the kid, but as like a white Viking. I saw this reply. Like someone literally AI generated the kid as a Viking. So it's apparently Scotland or some kind of like Scottish warrior defending her homeland or something against the brown invader. This in reality, for those that do not know, the actual story behind this is fucking insane. I actually researched this before stream. The children's mother is a notorious criminal and drug addict in the local community. She has been arrested many times, as has both of these kids. They have a very long criminal history, mostly centralized around violence and carrying weapons. The mom is a known menace in the community who regularly goes on nighttime drug-addled rants screaming through the neighborhood. She never has her kids inside and in bed on school nights. Like the kids are out wandering the streets with weapons, getting arrested at like 2, 3 a.m. regularly. These kids are menaces being raised by a woman who is apparently a local menace, a drug-addicted harpy menace, okay? So, like, these kids are a local terror that some random guy who happens to be an immigrant ran into. They're out there threatening adults with weapons in public. This guy pulled out his phone and started recording it. The right realized how they could turn this into something and made it into the children are the victims story. I shit you not. I shit you not, that's the actual reality of the situation the right is reporting on. And you should have known this was all bullshit the second it didn't sound right. The second they framed it as, hero girl gets arrested for protecting her sister from migrant with bad intent, it's like, really? Why would that happen? That doesn't sound right. That sounds fishy. When in reality it's, insane girl, child of drug addict, wandering a park across the street from a school with a weapon, with knives and axes, threatening random adults, gets caught on video, and the right tries to frame it as the one who started recording the crime as the bad guy. Even though the law already got involved and deemed the child was committing a crime and was not acting legally or doing anything heroic. I wonder if we get to see the video at any point in this. Does the quartering actually show the video? Okay, it does show the video. Let's watch the video.
Because the same crap happens here. Now here, don't touch us. This is them saying, hey, please don't touch us.
No, you don't dare!
Yes, you have a knife.
You don't dare fucking drop me! You're fucking bad and
Why are you fucking with us?
These are fucking kid bashers!
So
Your kid.
Okay. I know enough about UK culture to know she is dressed like a wannabe British Scottish gangster, right? Like that's the fit that like the type of kids that say, "Oi, run your fit, run your shoes, run your wallet, mate. Oi, what you got in your wallet? Oi, let me see that phone, oi, bro, you want let me see that phone, right?" Like she sounds, yeah, she's a chavlet. A chavlet. The chavs and the chavlet. Okay, there's a term for that. Yeah, she's literally dressed like a chav. Like, this is the British equivalent of like a teenager wearing actual American gang colors. Like, rolling up with a Glock in his hand, threatening people on the street. And if, like, I guess the equivalent in the right wing's worldview would be if, like, liberals started defending that. Like, she's literally, like, trying to dress like the local stereotype of a criminal. And she's armed and threatening people.
Kid bashers. I don't know what that means. I assume pedos. I don't know. And this guy who's speaking clear English in this video. She has a knife, bruh. Do not redeem it.
Because he has an accent. That makes him bad, I guess. Literally, he is filming her with a weapon and calling out to people around that this kid has a weapon. Don't go near her. She's got a weapon. Now, all right, I'm gonna hit you guys with a big, fat, juicy red pill. Malicious men get violent. Malicious women lie and play victim. They do it. And they immediately start doing the whole don't touch us thing. But that doesn't really fly when they ended up getting arrested because of the evidence found on CCTV footage. Yeah, by the way, That's why they end up getting arrested, and why we know the real story is because the police performed an investigation. They pulled CCTV footage, found this man never got close to them, much less ever went to touch them. They approached him, in fact, on said CCTV footage with weapons out. He pulls out his phone and starts recording, and then they directly stitch it into what we see here in this video. As soon as he pulls out his phone, though, they go from approaching him with weapons out to running away with their weapons out as if they're being defensive and saying, don't touch us, as such to make it look like, to no doubt the people around or anybody watching the video, like she's the victim, or she and her sister are victims of some creepy man. When in reality, this is just a couple of criminal kids trying to fuck with adults, and now the right's trying to politicize it.
He now has told police that he doesn't speak English, by the way, even though he clearly speaks it in this video.
Show the knife. Show the knife. Show the knife.
Fuck away from her!
Show the knife. Show the knife.
Don't touch her!
That's
Don't
it. That's
do whatever
it.
you
Show
want
the
to
knife.
do. Don't touch
So, the right is
Oh, he clearly
arguing.
speaks it in this video.
Show the knife. Show the
The
knife.
right is
Show
arguing.
the knife.
Fuck away from her!
Show the knife. Show the knife.
Don't touch
Why is this kid out on the street with... That's a paring knife, by the way. That's not even like that, to be fair, is... to be fair, it is Britain, and I'm pretty sure they've, like, made points illegal on knives in Britain. I'm not joking. If you, like, go to the UK, it is really rare to find, like, a steak knife with a point at the end. They've rounded it out and removed the points, so they're only cutting implements. They can only be used for, like, cutting in the kitchen. They've, like, made it part of, like, the knife industry there, that they all have their points, like, made into a rounded tip. So, like, if she could get a pointed steak knife, she would have one. But this is how all knives in the UK are. I'm not joking. That's real. It's a chef's knife, but it's a UK chef's knife without a point on it. And then, of course, a hatchet. Why was she walking around this seeming, what I understand to be, based on the background, a school's, like, local park or something? I don't know.
her!
That's
Don't
it.
speak
That's
whatever
it.
you
Show the
want to
knife.
do. Don't touch my sister!
Show the knife. That's it.
Don't fucking touch my little sister! She has
I'm not gonna lie, these kids' British accent is harder to understand than the literal immigrant guy's, like, English second language accent. I understand the guy recording better than I do them. They're, like, loud, angry British or Scottish accents or whatever they are. I don't know. Listen, everybody who comes from that island is all the same group of people in every American's mind. I'm just letting you all know, if you're from the UK, I'm sorry, but, like, we don't see any difference between any of you. Not the Northern English or the Scottish or the Northern Scottish or the Northern Irish or the Irish or any. You're all the same to us Americans. I'm sorry. We're very racist.
fucking 12!
Don't touch my little sister. She's 12. And these
Now, if this video came out and the kid was, like, getting in the guy's face saying, don't go near my sister, she's 12, stay away from her, that would be one thing. But the fact that this kid is carrying weapons and has been now caught on CCTV footage via the investigation, found to be the actual aggressor, and ended up getting arrested, the fact that the right is, like, desperate to rewrite history on this and make up a story. What they want is for people a decade from now to quote this story as the time the UK's government arrested a child for defending her sister against those invading immigrants. They want their narrative to be history that everyone remembers and thinks back on and uses as a point of example in every future political situation. We can't let them get away with these lies. This is one of the most blatant lies imaginable. Like, could you imagine an American equivalent where a kid's got a fucking gun and is threatening random people in a park, and the left tries to twist it as this kid's defending his little sibling against a right-wing maniac or something? Like, that would never fly. And yet they're trying to twist this insane, unhinged story. A decent percentage of Americans, even if they do have ancestry from either, know the difference between Scottish and Irish. No, they don't. Not by voice, not by seeing it, not by hearing it. I'm sorry. Modern day Scottish, Irish, British, Wales, North Irish accents, they're all so different from the, like, stereotypical now. because they've modernized and they've localized to like different parts of the UK. It's impossible to tell now. Like, do you really think the average American could tell a Bristolian from a Northern Englishman? Because those Northern English, with their weird wildling Game of Thrones ass accents, sound a lot like Bristolians, who also happen to sound kind of Scottish. Bristolian are people from Bristol, like the third biggest city in Britain. What do you mean, what is Bristol? It's like the third biggest city in the fucking country. What are you talking about? Like, I know what it is. It's literally just west of London. It is an American's, like, summer drive. Yeah, it's where the Yogscast are from. That's how I know it exists. It's because I learned about it from the Yogscast as a kid. Yeah, that's where they're based.
Foreign invaders are like, well, haha, I got you. You're carrying a knife. You are stupid enough to protect yourself. You're going.
It's a crime to carry a knife in that country. What is this about law and order? Where's law and order? Also, an axe? Why are kids carrying axes and knives? Okay, I gotta read the comments and see if it's all Nazis or if anybody is calling out the fact that these kids were running around with weapons and a police investigation found them to be criminally liable. Medieval problems require medieval solutions. When the cops start protecting the criminals, they lose the authority to enforce the law. You can't tell me at this point that it's not intentional. William Wallace, Braveheart, would be ashamed of today's Scotland. If she was my daughter, I would be proud of her. Wild how all of the Me Too feminists we've heard about nonstop for the last 10 years are magically quiet on all of these issues. Hilarious how the people who claim that rape culture isn't real use statistics from Sweden where they accurately track rape to argue that the massively disproportionate amount of rape in the country compared to every other country that tracks it must mean that immigrants are the fault, not that when you actually accurately count rape, the feminists aren't so crazy after all. It's actually quite common. Women are victimized sexually really commonly, and there's a reason why. They're always talking about that. Huh. Why was she carrying knives? Question. Because this happens a lot. There we go. We got comments that actively try to debunk the true story. This commenter says, why was she carrying a knife? Because this happens a lot. That's right, guys. Their story is literally that these kids were carrying weapons because they were ready for an immigrant to attempt to molest them. Because these invaders are doing it all the time. Not the police's version of the story, and all of the neighbors, mind you, the whole neighborhood's version of the story, which is their mom is a local drug-addicted harpy maniac who terrorizes the local area, doesn't take care of her kids, and said kids are themselves like violent criminals with a long criminal record who are constantly running around armed, threatening people in the area. So, like, yeah. There's a difference, by the way, between carrying a knife and like flaunting your knife around, by the way. You realize even in America, even if you're allowed to carry a firearm concealed or open carried, once you start brandishing it around, you've committed a crime, and you're not going to be allowed to own a gun much longer. Like, even in America, the land of the free, you're not allowed to brandish weapons at people. You can carry a weapon, you can't brandish it, which is what that kid was doing, in a country where it's not even legal to carry one. So, anyway, folks, the quartering has only gotten more dishonest and more retarded with each passing day. But he's gotten more popular. His videos are pulling more views than ever now, and his channel is at a higher sub count than ever. This right-wing misinfo and nonsense is at an all-time peak in success, financial stability, reach, every single positive trait and measure down the board. The right's lies and narratives are doing extremely well. The left is not so much in the best spot right now. Chudslop has beaten the left in this current state of things. So if you want to help counter that, consider leaving a like and a comment on this video. It really does help to boost the channel and the algorithm. We might get 10% of the views of the average quartering video, maybe. And maybe at least 10% of YouTube, maybe 1% of YouTube will know the true story and not the one that the quartering has spilled. You sound jealous? Jealous of a YouTuber with millions of subscribers? That's crazy. I couldn't possibly be jealous of that. Jealous of a guy who spreads lies for a living and makes millions of dollars off of, like, lying and being hateful? Oh, how could I ever be jealous of that? Oh my lord. Yes, obviously I consider it a upsetting thing when bad people doing bad things make a lot of money doing bad things. You fucking got me, bro. I'm so jealous. And yes, I am, of course. I'm a YouTuber who's small and barely gets by, and I put a lot of work into my content trying to spread the truth, debunk lies, and promote good ideas that are based in factuality, and it takes a lot of work. Meanwhile, you've got these grifters who make it a point to put in as little work as possible, making millions off of misinformation and hate. So yeah, that makes me jealous. You got me? Like, yeah? That upsets me? Sure. It upsets every progressive. You did it, dude. The left has been annihilated. I don't know, man. These conservatives these days have really been trying to do the whole victory lap of like, well, if the left were right, they'd make more money. If you were right, you wouldn't be broke. And so the idea that the right is already on top of things has become a very common argument for why the right is correct. Because if the left had a point, the left would be more successful, right? They've been using this logic for a while. The left has to counter that argument in particular. The Jinja Ninja, how are you doing, my friend? Thank you for the $5. Said, hey Zan, I donated like right as last stream ended. Timing my strong suit, lol. Timing is not my strong suit, lol. I'm pretty new to your channel and I'm glad YouTube recommended it. Hell yeah, well thank you to the channel. Well, thank you for coming to the channel. I hope you've enjoyed your time here and I appreciate the $5. Thank you. And yeah, Quartering Fans Malding that you just donated to me. Fucking seething right now. Seems like they're the ones who are jealous now. Anyway, folks, with all that said, if you enjoyed this segment and you found it entertaining or educational in any way, then please consider leaving a like and a comment down below. Subscribe and ring the bell icon to turn on all notifications so YouTube actually tells you when I go live or upload new videos in the future. And of course, if you want to support me directly, financially, help me keep the lights on, and a roof above my head here at the Xander Hall studio, then please consider donating, subscribing, or gifting a sub to someone else on my website, xanderhall.com/live, or support me through YouTube, Twitch, Streamlabs, Stream Elements, Patreon, or buy some custom Xander Hall merch through the Streamlabs link down below. Regardless of how you support me though, thank you all so much for watching, as always, and have a good one.